I'm making the point that Mercury is conjunct the asteroid Eris, strife energy, on the 9th of April. Eris is an energy for strife in Mercury matters like communication. So take special care around the 9th of April. It's a very confrontative energy. If you find you're getting ratty and confrontative, draw a line, make friends. Mercury turns direct on the 25th of April, stops going backwards at 21 Pisces, moves forward again, ending April at 22 Pisces. Very slow movement. And so there's another Gandanta crossing yet to happen in the next month, May. Let's move on now to Venus in April. Well, Venus starts April at 1 Pisces. It's conjunct Neptune. And the thing is, Venus is exalted in Pisces, Vedic Pisces. It is, if you look at a chart for April, Venus is the planet of highest dignity. And this can be so very good for love. So tap into that. Though we're all of us going to have to watch out for our Venus being swamped and ruined by the terrible energies that are around as April progresses, e.g. the eclipse of April the 8th, but more. Now, Venus in Pisces enhances Venus's ability to shine his nature on us as the preceptor of demons, the teacher of demons. Venus and Jupiter are the great guru energy planets of Vedic astrology, and in Venus's case, Venus shows us that dealing lovingly with demons, i.e. horrible energies, is a very spiritual way of getting them to leave their evil behind. Obviously, you can't be weak and buy into their demonic facets, but keep being loving. And that gives the opportunity for the person to heal. This is a very important point. As I said, Venus is conjunct Neptune, which is at 3 degrees Pisces at the start of April. And the Venus-Neptune conjunction becomes exact on the 3rd of April. Now, the positive side of this conjunction is that it can promote the highest perceptions of love and beauty, though of course it can also bring illusions in love. It's very interesting to have in your birth chart. Now, asteroid Eris is conjunct Venus at the time of the new moon of April the 8th, and the Venus-Eris conjunction can be a time of profound transformation for our expression of our love, including re-evaluation of our personality issues and our self-expression values. We can actually learn to take out horrid habitual scripts in love by experiencing the Venus-Eris energies around April the 8th, when Venus is conjunct Eris. On April the 18th, Venus moves on to conjunct Rahu, the North Node. This can be a very driven energy for love. It can lead us down wrong alleyways, but nevertheless it increases the love urge. And the Venus-Rahu combination creates an increase in sexual urges. So be aware of the two-sided coin, Venus conjunct Rahu exact on April the 18th. Venus Next day, April the 19th, is conjunct Mercury retrograde. So, be aware whether Mercury retrograde's famous issues will affect your Venus and the expression of love. Venus transits the Pisces Aries Gandanta zone from April the 22nd to April the 27th. This can be a time for very sensitive openings about love. Do watch out for when Venus transits the Pisces Aries Gandanta zone, April the 22nd to April the 27th. And after all that, Venus leaves the sign of exaltation, Pisces, and enters Aries on the 25th of April. And Venus ends April at 7 Aries, at which point Venus is square Pluto at 7 Capricorn. What an energy for deep power in love, if we can contact it and handle it right. So let's move on to the next planet, Mars. Well, Mars starts April at 13 Aquarius, 13 Vedic Aquarius. Mars becomes conjunct Saturn, Lord of Karma, on the 10th of April at 20 Aquarius. At the time of the eclipse of the 8th of April, the Mars-Saturn conjunction is an orb of 1 degree, 24 minutes. Now, the Mars-Saturn conjunction is characterized by terrible anger, terrible frustration. And the point is, it totally pervades the eclipse with its energy. It totally adds anger and frustration energies to the eclipse, affecting individual humans and the whole world. Although, again, I would make the point that people can be impelled to heal their frustration and anger problem at the time of an acute Mars-Saturn eclipse like this. And even people with the Mars-Saturn conjunction natally can be impelled to heal and to cease it and leave it behind and make a new deal with their loved one, etc., etc. So if you do find anger taking a grip on you at this time, do healing work to end that part of you. And Saturn, of course, is also about block. And so if you find blockages are taking a grip on you, and maybe have done so for a long time, again, do healing work as part of this eclipse to end the dominance of that part of your personality. Interestingly, if you look at the Rashi Avashta's Vedic astrology technique for calculating how planets treat each other in your chart, the way your planets treat each other, well, you'll see that in the chart for the eclipse, Saturn has a raw strength of 401 strength points. But the impact of Mars fighting away at Saturn reduces Saturn to -7 strength, obviously causing the greatest frustration and anger and destroying Saturn's needed karmic input into our life, into our consciousness. So Mars trashes Saturn. But what does Saturn do to Mars? Well, the Grim Reaper trashes the vigour of Mars as well as the anger. The spiritual warrior is smashed. And so Mars has a raw strength of 408 strength points, but gets smashed down to only 7 strength points by Saturn energies at the time of this eclipse. And the thing is, we need our Mars action person. Saturn destroys him or her at this time. So again, we can feel the greatest anger and frustration and block about that. But of course, the crucial thing is not to give in to the negatives, but to honour the Mars spiritual warrior in us and honour that side of Saturn that is the carrier of our karmas, that wants us to tie up loose ends and do needed tasks in this life path properly. So there is a great opportunity with this horrible energy. And, try and make a note of that and work with it. That's Rashi of Ashtas. And I included it, I do it, always include it in all my astrology readings. So you can go to my Star Wheel Astrology website to book a reading. And of course I teach it in all my courses, and they're on my Star Wheel Astrology courses page. So note that Mars leaves Aquarius and enters Pisces, where of course Mars is conjunct Neptune, and this happens on the 23rd of April. And Mars ends April still conjunct Neptune at 5 Pisces. So is your Mars-Neptune combination going to be someone who puts energy into insight, intuition and journeying and healing? Or is it going to be the negative side of the Mars-Neptune combination, which is the liar and the illusionist? Okay, so let's move on to Jupiter. Well, Jupiter transits from 21 Aries to 29 Aries in April. And during that time, Jupiter leaves Bharani Nakshatra and enters Kritika Nakshatra on the 17th of April. A very big thing is that Jupiter is conjunct Uranus at 27 Aries on April the 19th. Jupiter-Uranus conjunction is a wonderful, thank the Lord, expansionary, successful energy. So make the effort to connect with that great Venus-Uranus conjunction potential around this time and ongoingly. What sort of revolutionary breakthrough, insight and blessing could you really do with now? Try and work with it, particularly around April the 19th. The Jupiter-Uranus energy is in fact an energy of explosive advances, of revolutionary breakthroughs in your life. Okay, let's move on to the very different energy of Saturn. Saturn transits from 19 degrees to 22 degrees Aquarius in April. Saturn is conjunct Mars, exact on the 10th of April in Purvabhadra Nakshatra. As I've said, the energy of this Mars-Saturn conjunction is horrendously tense and dangerous and angry, and it's part of the total solar eclipse of the 8th of April. So use my analysis of the nature and effects of the Mars-Saturn conjunction in your life if you feel the energies of anger, frustration and blocking. Let's move on to Uranus. Well, Uranus transits from 26 Aries to 28 Aries in April. And as I said, Jupiter is conjunct Uranus on April the 19th. And that is such a wonderful, thank the Lord, opportunity and energy. Neptune. Neptune transits from 3 degrees Pisces to 4 degrees Pisces in April. On the positive side, Neptune in Pisces is such a wonderful supportive energy for vision openings, for vision work, for vision journeys, shamanic type healings, the lot. I so love this energy. I combine tarot with every astrology reading I give. Go to my Star Wheel Astrology website to book your reading. And I do offer vision work shamanic healings together with your astrology reading. And you can go to my Druid Forest School website, the Shamanism page, and read about them there and get in touch with me to book your reading plus shamanic healing. Okay, we're getting to the far limits of the solar system with Pluto now. Pluto is at 7 Capricorn all April. And as I said, do note that the moon goes over Pluto on April the 3rd. And so that's quite an energy we'll feel. And of course, it's leading on to the April the 8th eclipse. It is so super important for you to be aware that at the time of the April the 8th new moon eclipse, Pluto is conjunct Pluto in the chart of the United States, where Pluto is 6 degrees 49 Capricorn. This is such a huge energy about the United States working constructively to deal with issues of power, and hopefully not unconstructively and destructively. And because the USA is such a major nation, the lives of so many of us could be affected by whatever goes on in the US this year. My next point is that Chiron transits from at 25 Pisces in April. And as I've said before, it's part of the April the 8th eclipse. And so all through April, we have a huge opportunity to identify our existential wounds, our personal wounds that are really holding us back and affecting the way we behave and speak and think and feel and manage things. Do work now to identify what your Chiron wound problems are and start bringing chosen sorts of healing to end those wounds. And indeed, the realizations I have spoken of that are available in this month can really help us fully at last see, wow, that is a wound of mine, I will end it. Next one, Lilith Black Moon. Well, Lilith ends April at 29 Vedic Leo, having started April at 25 Vedic Leo. So my point is it's opposite the Aquarius eclipse. It's also opposite the Mars-Neptune conjunction. It's opposite the full moon. Now Lilith is what is stuffed down into our unconscious and into our shadow side. This is stuff that absolutely drives us in what we do in our life, in the pathway we choose, in how we behave with others. And the point is, because it's all unconscious and shadow material from past lives or from difficult treatment when we were a little kid or teenager, then we can be totally oblivious of this material that is stuffed down into unconscious and is strongly driving us to behave in the way that won't help us achieve our incarnational life purpose and spiritual success in this life. And indeed, to have Lilith opposition the Mars-Neptune conjunction is an immense opportunity for dream work, for empowerment work, for healing. So don't neglect this around the full moon of the 24th of April, for example, not at all in April. I've done loads of dream work. It's so useful and successful. And get in touch with me for a reading, giving an emphasis on your Lilith. And indeed, I can add on a separate dream work session. I found the concept of Lilith so very powerful for myself. So go to my Star Wheel Astrology to book your reading. Indeed, We can also set up a dream work session afterwards. The nodes of the moon. Rahu North Node, Ketu South Node. Ketu South Node retrogrades from 21 Virgo to 20 Virgo in April. Rahu North Node retrogrades from 21 Pisces to 20 Pisces in April. Now be aware that I think the very big thing in this is that the nodes are transiting Virgo, and Virgo is the sign of health, healing and right living. So many of the people I'm working with are bringing in new strategies to bring in healthier lifestyles and to bring in needed healing. The same is true of me. I feel so glad that I stumbled into these strategies I'd never tried before. So bringing in new massive approaches to healing, and then with Rahu, the North Node opposite, in Pisces, that adds up to intuitive healer. And so intuitive healers, people working that way, are on a roll now if they use the opportunities. And we can all bring better intuitive methods to our healing. So the last point I'd bring is that the asteroid Vesta is square the nodal axis. The asteroid Vesta is at 16 Gemini by the time of the April full moon, 24th of April. And Vesta ends the month at 19 degrees, still square the nodal axis. Well, I love this and I'm pleased to mention it because Vesta is our sacred flame. And so, for example, the temples in ancient Rome and Greece all had a never-ending